students, welcome to your geography lesson 2 atmosphere. In the last class we had learnt up to greenhouse effects and global warming. So what are the effects of greenhouse and how the global warming is caused, you might have learnt. Now what will happen if the sea level will rise? The land nearby areas will be drowned. The sea level rise since 1993 has been estimated to have been an average 2.6 mm and 2.9 mm per year, 0.4 mm. Additionally, sea level rise has accelerated from 1995 to 2015 over 21st century. The IPCC projects for a high emission scenario that global mean sea level could rise by 52 to 98 centimeters. Widespread coastal flooding. So the scientists or IPCC, they have said that after observing this global warming, they have predicted about the level of rise of this sea, which would be 52 to 98 centimeters. Widespread coastal flooding would be expected if several degrees of warming is sustained for millennia. For example, sustained global warming of more than 2 degrees Celsius could lead to eventual sea level rise of around 1 to 4 centimeter due to thermal expansion of seawater and the melting of glaciers and small ice caps. Melting of the Greenland ice sheet could contribute an additional 4 to 7.5 meter over many thousands of years. It has been estimated that we are already committed to a level of rise of approximately sea level of rise of approximately 2.3 meters for each degree of temperature rise within the next 2000 years. In terrestrial ecosystems, the earlier timing of spring events as well as poleward and upward shifts in plant and animal ranges have been linked with high confidence to recent warming. Future climate change is expected to affect particular ecosystems including tundra, mangroves, and coral reefs. It is expected that most ecosystems will be affected by higher atmospheric carbon dioxide levels combined with higher global temperatures. Overall, it is expected that climate change will result in the extinction of many species and reduced diversity of ecosystems. You see how the temperature is affecting our Earth. The main effects of global warming can be summarized as follows. Rising seas, inundation of freshwater marshlands, low-lying cities and islands with seawater. So sea level will affect the marshlands, low-lying cities and islands with seawater. Changes in rainfall patterns, droughts and fires in some areas, flooding in other areas. See there will be flood in some areas, droughts and fires also in some areas. That means no rainfall means drought, then if there is more rainfall then it is flooding. Increased likelihood of extreme events such as flooding, hurricanes, etc. There would also be some events like flooding, hurricanes, the cyclones, melting of the ice caps. What will happen if the ice caps start to melt? Loss of habitat near the poles. For example, polar bears are now thought to be greatly endangered by the shortening of their feeding season due to dwindling ice packs. Melting glaciers. Significant melting of old glaciers is already observed. Nowadays, we often come to hear or watch in the news that the ice glaciers have been melting. in the Antarcticas. Widespread vanishing of animal populations following widespread habitat loss. Some animals are endangered to be extinct. Therefore, because of their habitat loss of their habitats, their living place. Spread of disease, migration of disease such as malaria to new now warmer regions. Bleaching of coral reefs. Due to warming seas, the acidification due to carbonic acid formation, one third of coral reefs now appear to have been severely damaged by warming seas. The coral reefs are going to be damaged. It is already estimated that one third of coral reefs now appear to have been severely damaged. Loss of plankton due to warming seas. The enormous 900-mile long Aleutian Island ecosystems of orcas, that is killer whales, sea lions, sea otters, sea urchins, kelp beds, and fish populations appear to have collapsed due to loss of plankton. Plankton is a plant, is a tiny plant which is the food of the sea animals. These due to the collapse of or loss of these planktons, it's going to affect the sea animals as they cannot get sufficient food. They are going to be extinct, leading to loss of sea lions, leading orcas to eat too many sea otters, leading to urchin explosions, leading to loss of kelp beds and their associated fish populations. So these are all the effects of global warming. Now, how to reduce global warming? As individuals, we can help by taking action to reduce our personal carbon emissions, but to fully address the threat of global warming, we must demand action from our elected leaders to support and implement a comprehensive set of climate solutions. So we must try to reduce our personal carbon emissions, or we should demand from our government to support the implement a comprehensive set of climate solutions. Expand the use of renewable energy and transform our energy system to one that is cleaner and less dependent on coal and other fossil fuels. What is renewable energy, students? The energy which can be renewed again and again. Like for example, the solar energy, it can be renewed again and again, but we should also make less use of coal and other fossil fuels. So try to use more and more renewable source of energy. Increase vehicle fuels efficiency and support other solutions that reduce oil use, like carpool. Place limits on the amount of carbon that polluters are allowed to emit. Amount of carbon that polluters are allowed to emit. So we must make a limit for the use of carbon which pollute the environment. Build clean energy economy by investing in efficiency energy technologies, industries and approaches. Reduce tropical deforestation and its associated global warming emissions. Now, industries, we must use inefficient energy technologies. Build a clean energy economy by investing in efficient energy technologies in the industries. Reduce tropical deforestation. Tropical cutting of the trees in the tropical regions we must reduce, and its associated global warming emissions. So the global warming increases due to cutting of trees. We must stop that. And now this is all about the global warming. Let's study what is the structure of the atmosphere. Atmosphere is a blanket of air or a thick layer of air that surrounds our earth. The air contains various gases like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and other inert gases like argon, krypton, xenon, and some dust particles and water particles also, water droplets. Scientists have identified five almost concentric layers of air from the bottom to the highest limit of the atmosphere. These layers are distinguished with respect to the density and temperature. What is density? Thickness. And the temperature. The air surrounding the earth are not same everywhere. They vary from place to place. As we go to a more higher region, the density becomes less and the temperature also becomes less. There are troposphere. The layers, different layers are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, including ionosphere, and the exosphere. The height of the layers varies with latitude and season. Each layer has a zone of marked change in composition and temperature named as poses. Now you can see in this picture, page number 21, layers of atmosphere. What is the first layer? Is troposphere. Then there is also ozone layer. Then stratosphere. Then after that we have a mesosphere, and then thermosphere, and the last is exosphere. So troposphere extends up to 18 kilometer. Then there is a tropopause, end of the troposphere, and then it is this layer is of the atmosphere is closest to the Earth's surface. It extends to a height of 8 km above the poles and 18 km above the equator. So equator, it is more, and towards the poles it is 8 km. It extends over the equator is more because intense heating at the equator expands the air. At the poles the air is cold, dense and heavy. Therefore the height of the atmosphere is less at the poles because it is very cold, and the height is more at the equator, above the equator, because equator gets intense heating. Therefore the air expands due to heat. The troposphere is therefore more compressed above the poles. Compressed means compact form. The air is more compressed in the compressed form. Air is in the expanded form at the equator. Temperature decreases with altitude. As we go up, temperature becomes less. At the rate of 1 degree Celsius for 165 meter of ascent, for every 165 meter in height, the temperature decreases up to 1 degree centigrade. Within the troposphere, we call it normal lapse rate temperature. The upper limit of the troposphere is called the tropopause. Water vapor and dust particles are present in this layer, so all the weather phenomena takes place here. Clouds and the rainfall and all the changes in the atmosphere takes place in the troposphere. The atmosphere does not get heated directly by the sun rays. The troposphere absorbs the maximum heat from the warm earth. The heated surface of the earth warms the layer of air resting above it. First, the atmosphere doesn't get direct heat. First, the heat is absorbed by the earth. Then the earth radiates back to the atmosphere. Then comes stratosphere. The stratosphere extends to a height of 50 km from the surface of the earth. It lies above the troposphere. Temperature remains almost constant to a height of 20 km. Up to 20 km, temperature is constant, beyond which it gradually rises till the stratopause. The upper limit of the stratosphere is the stratopause, a belt of higher temperature corresponds with the presence of ozone. It absorbs harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun, hence, so the higher temperature conditions occur. There is a ozone layer also which absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun. These ultraviolets are very harmful rays, otherwise we would have felt very hot. As the stratosphere is free from clouds, thunder and lightning, there are no weather making phenomena in the stratosphere. All the weather making phenomena you will find in the troposphere, within the troposphere. So there is no cloud, thunder and lightning. The atmospheric conditions are ideal for large jet planes to fly. Most of the planes fly just above the tropopause to avoid weather disturbances present in the troposphere. So planes, it is not safe for the planes to fly within the troposphere. They fly above the troposphere, that is in the stratosphere, to avoid weather disturbances like thunder, lightning, etc. Mesosphere. The mesosphere extends to a height of about 80 km on an average and lies above the stratosphere. The temperature decreases with height in this layer and falls to minus 100 degrees Celsius, making it the coldest layer. The upper limit of the mesosphere is the mesopause. The mesosphere has light clouds called noctilucent clouds that shine at night. They are formed due to the presence of cosmic dust. Meteors burn in this layer due to air resistance and friction in the presence of some oxygen. Most of these rocks from space turn to dust or burn before reaching the Earth's surface. So meteors burn in this layer before they reach the Earth. Meteors are the shooting stars. They come from the atmosphere. Thermosphere. This layer extends from 80 km to 500 km, lies above the mesosphere. It corresponds closely with the ionosphere, as its lowest part has electrically charged particles called ions. Ions are the electrically charged particles. Radio waves transmitted from the Earth are reflected back to Earth by this layer. This facilitates long distance wireless and satellite communication. So thermosphere helps us to make use of these radio waves, which is required for the transmission in our TV and radio and other mobiles. So these ion particles are reflected back from the thermosphere to the Earth by this layer. So this enables long distance wireless and satellite communication. In the upper part of the layer, temperature begins to rise rapidly up to 1480 degrees Celsius. So much heat. This is because gaseous molecules absorb the X-rays and short-wave ultraviolet rays of the sun. So this is very heat layer. The thermosphere protects us from meteoric showers because at such high temperatures substance burn out. So meteors burn there. Therefore, we are protected from them. Exosphere, the uppermost layer of the atmosphere which extends beyond the ionosphere up to 1600 km is known as exosphere. It does not have any defined border to the interplanetary space. This layer has very scattered gases. The gravitational pull is minimum in this layer. The uppermost layer, the outer layer of the atmosphere, is exosphere. It extends up to 1600 kilometers. It does not have any defined border to the interplanetary. After that comes the interplanetary space. What we call space. The gravitational pull is minimum in this layer, and this layer has very scattered gases. Scattered means they are here and there spread. Importance of the gases are not very dense in this exosphere. Importance of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is very useful to us in the following ways. It is essential for both plant and animal life because it contains life sustaining gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. Weather phenomena occur on the earth due to the presence of dust particles and water vapor in the atmosphere. The atmosphere regulates the air temperature on the earth. It prevents extremes of temperature which would have made life impossible. It maintains the air temperature, and it also prevents extremes of temperature which would have made the life impossible. The ozone layer in the upper stratosphere protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. The ionosphere reflects radio waves transmitted from the earth, which makes radio broadcasting possible. The atmospheric sphere also allows sound to travel through it. Now these are the various structures of atmosphere, and we also learned the importance of atmosphere. So let us stop here, children. Hello students, welcome to your geography.